Hi everybody, this is a video tutorial on how to put together the Tea Light birthday cake for the box card file that I have for sale on my Etsy site. So the list of materials of the things you'll need are the file pieces cut out from Design Space, some embellishments to go around the cake, a tea light, and I have experimented with tons of tea lights. The best ones and the ones that will work the best with this file are the ones from Michaels, and they're the Basic Elements. You can use your 50% off gift card and they end up being really cheap, actually cheaper than the dollar store lights. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your tea light works. Sometimes they don't. So we have that, make sure that works. You're going to need regular tacky glue, a hot glue gun, your pieces, of course, pair of scissors, and then this is not to use, but rather I use the top, you'll see as we get into the video, to put the cake on top to kind of give it a little bit of stability to mold around the bottom piece. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do after you get your pieces off of your Cricut mat, you're going to take your two pieces of the actual cake. There is a score line on the top here and the bottom, and then on one side of the other. Take your little scissors and cut very carefully down to the line, a score line. Each score line, both sides on this piece, and then this side on one piece. And then you're just going to take your pieces and fold little tabs down onto the score line. Like so. Do it on this one. Now this one you're going to have the tabs going one way on the top part of the cake, and then they're going to go the opposite way on the bottom of the cake. Okay, and then just kind of take your finger and roll it like this to kind of make it curve a little bit. We want to get that curve started, okay? Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your tea light, your hot glue, work quickly and efficiently. So you're going to put your hot glue, just try two pieces on two little tabs first. A little goes a long way. Fold them down on top of the tea light. Hold it for just a second. And then you're just going to do this all the way around. Do two tabs at a time, that way your glue doesn't dry while you're trying to get this as perfect as you can. Pretty quick with hot glue, but it works the best and you don't get a whole lot of glue residue like you do with the tacky glue. You can use tacky glue for this if you need more time to work on it and you can't do this as quick, but I find that the tacky glue gets all over my fingers and then it gets all over the cake and it just doesn't look as nice to me. Maybe you're better with tacky glue than I am. I'm just not good at it. Down. When you get to your last tab, make sure you run the glue all the way from the bottom score line, as close as you can get it to the edge, and on that last tab on the top, you're going to fold it over, close it up. Okay. We have the top on there. That's the top part of your cake. These tabs You're going to fold outwards so that when you set them down, they're out like this. Then you're going to take your tacky glue. I use tacky glue for this because the hot glue dries really fast, and it also kind of makes it lift up a little bit, which you don't want. So just thin layer of the tacky glue around the top. Take your little piece that has the hole in it. For the other cake, if you're doing the wedding box and you don't want the candle, just take one of the circles that pops out of one of these rings. And that's what you'll use. And there's another tutorial for that one. So this fits these lights perfectly. So you just have to wiggle it down, press down on the top. Okay. Then here's where our, actually I can do it, just the top. So just take the top. This is not quite 2 inches. This bottle right here, this adhesive, this 505 is perfect. Some of the spray paint cans are a little too big. You'll just have to kind of search around and see what you've got. So just set this on top. Take one of your little cutout circles and you're going to start to shimmy it down. Sorry, I have a little frog in my throat. Once you get it to about here, take your tacky glue and on each tab be very careful with this. You don't want too much glue. It can get really messy if you use too much glue. It's just, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to get these, figure out exactly how much glue, but if you can see, it's just a teeny dot really is all you need on each tab. Okay, put this back down, shimmy, finish shimmying the little circle all the way down. And you're going to press it down onto the tabs. This is where if you use too much glue, it gets a little messy. So if you see the glue seeping out, you can just take your fingernail, take a little paper towel, kind of just get as much of the wet glue as you can off of there so it's not picking up dirt. You want to try to keep your cake as clean as you can, especially if you're using white. If you're going to do a practice one, use brown paper. It's a lot more forgiving. You can flip it over and just make sure that your tabs are stuck to the ring, like so. Okay, then you're going to take your second piece here. This is where this little lid comes in very handy. Take your second piece, do the little curling thing with your finger I showed you. Okay, you're going to start with the side with the little angled tab first. Line it up with the back. See how you're going to line it up and start with the back because you want your seam to finish in the back of the candle. So you're just going to take your top piece of your cake and run a very thin layer of glue around the base. And then you're going to start on the back. Just like we did the top, you want to press your tabs down, go around the cake like this. This lid comes in really handy for this. Okay, just take some finagling, a little bit of practice. Get your tabs down. The back around and re-stick them. They're not going to stick down the first time. It just takes a little bit of practice to. And then as the glue dries, they'll stick down a little easier. Just kind of hold the tab in place to help it stick. You can see this part, it's okay if you've got some, you get the glue just doesn't look right sitting on top when you use this, but there's no way around it. This part's going to be hidden. You see these little pieces of dirt that somehow, no matter how many times you wash your hands, get on there. When the tabs all stick down, you're going to turn it around to the back. There should be one tab sticking up. You want to run a piece of glue on the tab, and then all the way down as close as you can get it to the edge on the seam. Put it back on, and this is how we close it. And you just hold the glue, wipe off any excess here. And if you get little pieces of dirt. So you just want to let this dry for just about, I'd say about 3 minutes before you really start moving it around. And then after that, you're going to take another layer of your tacky glue, very thin layer, run it on top here. You're going to take your second little open circle and once again shimmy this down like we did in the beginning over the first layer. Be really careful. It's very delicate. This is where I like to make sure I don't have any pieces of glue or dirt or anything stuck on my fingers, because this part of the cake does show. So we're just going to go around and press it down. Okay, then you're going to take your top piece of your icing. You need to do just like we did with our finger to kind of curl it around. And then you're just going to take your tacky glue, apply it to the back, and layers, enough to stick, but you don't really want it to bleed outside. Again, you want to start it back here on the seam. You can raise it just a little bit over the lip of the top so that you don't have exposed corners right there at the top of your icing or at the top of your cake. Stuff is nice. You don't really need the top if it falls out. The one thing good about this glue is if you kind of mess up, you can move it around. So we just want to hold that on. Till it sticks. I find it just doesn't like to stick back here. Sometimes I'll just take my little hot glue and give it a little help. just a little smidge back here so that I don't have to hold it forever on the back side. Okay, and then the same thing with the bottom piece of icing. Take your finger, run it so that you curl it just a little bit. Run your glue. Start it on the back. Oh, sorry, down here. Same thing, just raise it just above the lip of the cake, kind of hide the seam there. And then on the back, I'll help it again with a little bit of hot glue. There we go. Now I like to take extra embellishments, some little, this is the, you can get this from Michael's, it's a little strip of rhinestones, it's the 2-strip. So we're just gonna put this around like this so that it looks real nice. So this is very hard to get stuck on, so what I like to do is work in short strips. So start here with a little strip of hot glue, work quickly. Same thing with your bottom strip. Little pieces of glue come off very easy. That's why I like to use the hot glue, because you can pull off the little pieces of the hot glue a lot easier than you can dirt that's embedded in the other kind of glue. And here you go. So you just flip it over, turn it on, and there's your tea light birthday cake.